Are you ready to be empowered with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in yourself, to overcome your fears and battle through every challenge and bully you face, both real and in your mind? Are you ready to learn life-changing strategies on how to develop the right mindset and positive mental attitude to courageously stand out in the crowd and be who you were born to be? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Building Warrior Confidence Podcast. Greetings and welcome to another uplifting, life-changing episode of the Warrior Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, Master Rich Grogan, and I'm truly grateful you're here today. If you're new to the show and it's your first time, then welcome to the show, baby. Where you been? Well, I'm glad you finally found us, and I'm glad you're here. And, of course, if you've been here before and you're back for another round of Warrior Confidence, then welcome back. Woohoo! All right. Well, as always, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to give you everything I've got to make sure that our time together is valuable, empowering, enjoyable, and most importantly, educational, that you leave or walk away or turn off this show. Hopefully don't turn it off too soon, but you move on from this show, getting back to your life, and you're saying, man, that was time well spent. I'm glad I did that. I can't wait to hear another episode. That's my goal with everything I do here. So hopefully you're having a great day, and maybe if you're not, then hopefully this show is exactly what you need to turn your day around and get you going on the right path, the right foot, the right step, just get you going where you need to be going. So a little tease about the show before we get started. Are you just existing in life, or are you living life to the fullest? That's the question I want you to chew on for a minute here. Are you just existing in life, or are you living life to the fullest? Are you just getting by day, waiting for Friday, waiting for the weekend? Are you just waiting for that next vacation or the next big break to come along? You're not sure how it's going to happen, but you know it is. Even though there's no plan, you're just kind of hoping. Are you living the life that you want to live? A purpose-filled life, a life that people are going to remember. And I say the best one for last, or the biggest right hook of reality. What are people going to say at your eulogy? Ooh, wowzers. Well, I'll tell you what, while you're thinking about that, remember to subscribe to the podcast and be sure to listen to previous episodes. And also be sure to visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Man, we are throwing up, maybe that'd be the right word to say, but we are throwing out and putting out, whatever. We're throwing videos on YouTube and they're coming out. How about that? 2 a week throwing up. I can't believe I said that. But anyway, I don't cut this. We just roll with it. But two new videos a week coming out on our YouTube channel. And the channel link is at Warrior Confidence. It's all one word. The link is in the description, so you can just click on that and jump on over there, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and check that baby out as well. Good. All right, well, let's just dive into today's show and get this thing going. Well, this is episode number 346, and I titled this one, Don't Just Exist, Live, and How to Make the Most of Your Life so we can get the most out of it. Now, I asked you earlier, are you just living, existing in life, or are you really living the life to the fullest? That's a tough one, isn't it? And I'm telling you, and those new to the show, I'm a realist. Life is not all sunshine and rainbows. I will never, ever sit here and tell you it is. That's just a waste of time. And I know a lot of motivational, inspirational speakers. And we're all, kind of our goal is to pump you up, lift you up, build you up, empower you. But I'm never going to lie to you. I know life's tough out there. And a lot of my videos on YouTube and a lot of the podcasts, if you've listened before or you're listening and going to go back through and listen to some previous episodes, it's all about that. But my goal is to help you not focus on the negative. The negative is always going to be there. I want to empower you with the hope, the faith, the belief, the positive mental attitude, the perseverance to battle through those challenges, overcome those fears. So you've got the strength, you've got what I like to call the warrior confidence, which is pretty much like the armor of God, the BullyProof armor, to withstand all the slings and arrows that society is going to throw at you so you can come out on top. So is life tough? You doggone right it is. Yeah, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I'm going to empower you to get back up so you can live the life that you were intended to live. And we all struggle, we all suffer, we all go through pains, and yours are different than mine. I'll never, ever try it. It's one of those that I'll share openly the struggles, the challenges that I've went through or currently going through and what I'm doing or what I've done to overcome those challenges. And my hope is that it inspires you to battle through or to overcome, or something I say is like, oh, I never thought of it that way. That's the goal. It's never to, well, obviously I'd never disrespect you, but it's never to sell short, whatever challenge you're going through. Not at all. It's just to empower you to fight back, to battle back, to stand back up, fight one more round. Is that good? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. One of my new videos, it hasn't aired yet on YouTube, but it's about this very topic. And I titled it on YouTube is Everyone Dies, but Not Everyone Lives. Ooh, I mean, that's tough. How's that? Is that a right hook of reality? Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that video, or you'll hear the audio, and we're going to see how this works out. It's the first time I've ever done this before, but the video just finished in the editing cycle, and boy, I've got a company I hired, and they do a fantastic job of editing the videos, and what they do is they'll go through, and unlike our podcast here, or if I goof up, I just say, hey, that's me being human. On the YouTube videos, I have them cut it and splice it and do all that good stuff, but they put music in the background, and then they also build in images and video clips that pop up to kind of go along with what I'm talking about. Now, obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, that doesn't do any good. You're just hearing it, listening in the car, but the audio of it is really solid. So I'm going to give this a shot and see how it sounds. If it's a bust, then we won't do it again. But I just finished listening to the video. They just finished editing it, and I'm like, man, that's really, really good. And since today's topic was pretty much the same as the YouTube video name, which everyone dies, not everyone lives, I thought, man, why don't we give this a shot and just see how it works out? Okay, well, it did not work, but that's all right. Maybe it's a little tease, and now you're like, man, I really want to hear that YouTube video. Maybe that's what I needed to do. It wasn't intentional to try and tease you to get over there to the YouTube channel, but maybe that's what it took or takes to get you over there if you haven't already been over there. But anyway, it didn't work out, and, what do? I sit crying about it. I mean, I've probably spent the last 25 minutes messing with it. Obviously, you don't know that because it just clipped right into this take. So, but instead of doing the other take there, I thought I'd just leave it, and we'll go from here and talk about our show today, which, as I already mentioned, it's Don't Just Exist, Live. How to get the most out of your life. And of course, the YouTube video was Everybody Dies, but Not Everyone Lives. So a big thing I wanted to mention, and I kind of teased you with some questions there. Are you just existing in life? Or are you living life to the fullest? Getting by day, or, have a purpose-filled life? And the big one at the end there is, are you living a life that's going to be remembered? And what are people going to say at your eulogy? I know that's kind of morbid. Nobody likes to think about their eulogy or dying. And I mentioned that in the video on YouTube there when it says everyone dies, not everyone lives. I realize it's kind of a morbid topic, but it's also a good right hook of reality to remind us that, man, at some point in time, that's going to be it for us. We're all going to pass away at some point in time. And it's going to be a matter of what footprint did we leave on this world? I like to always think about, I guess a saying I say all the time is, I want to plant as many trees as possible that I'll never have the opportunity to sit under for shade. Believe it or not, I've said that, I've said it a lot of times, but believe it or not, I've actually had people say, well, why in the heck would you want to do that? And so maybe you've encountered that before. Or maybe you're even asking me that question, like, well, what do you care what happens after you? Well, our goal with life, since we're only here a short amount of time, is to do what we can to not only get the most out of it, but to leave the greatest impact of utilizing our God-given talent, the gifts that we've been given. And unfortunately, I'm everything I talk about, I'm guilty of doing at some point in time. Just kind of moseying through life. It ticks away. I'll be open and honest with you. We moved to Florida almost 2 years ago now, and I struggled. I kind of drifted off the path for the longest time. And I got a little too involved with the political landscape of what's going on. And the biggest reason for that is I'm part of the program, part of everything I guess my talents have been blessed to do is empower people, kids, parents, teens, adults, coaches, entrepreneurs to believe in themselves and not allow themselves to be manipulated, to be controlled, to be bullied. And because I know how it feels, man. It feels horrible. I've had it done to me before. Well, not just once, twice. It's countless times. And the biggest reason was I didn't believe enough in myself to stand up for myself, to say something, to say stop, to say no. Yeah. And of course, those mental scars, they're there forever. And the kind of a battle we're fighting now is for our kids. I mean, there's some sick, yucky things going on out there. And too many people in high positions are lying to our kids, tell them things that are not right. They're flat out evil. Anyway, before I know it, I'll be jumping down another rabbit hole here. I don't want to go down there. But being a Christian, following the Bible, there's two genders. That's it. And if I've lost a few viewers or listeners because of that, well, I'm not going to lie to you. That's just the reality of things. And anyway, I spent a little too much time on those topics instead of getting the most out of life and empowering people. And it doesn't mean I'm hiding or falling away from those challenges, but my gift is on empowering people because I can't fight every battle for everybody. I can't fight everybody's battle, period, right? And neither can you. But if you're empowered, or if I'm empowered, I'm doing what I can right here behind this microphone to empower you to believe in yourself, to be the best parent, to be the best coach, to be the best leader, to be the best Christian, to be the best entrepreneur, business person, or just be the best you can be, to get out there and make a difference in the world, to not just coast through life. Now, the crazy thing is, I wrote a book 2 years ago with Tom Ziglar called Road Trip, and it's all about having guardrails of life. On highways and freeways and bridges, they all have guardrails to keep us from running off in the embankment or splashing into the ocean or crossing the median and smashing into another car. But rarely do we have set guardrails in our life. And before we know it, we have drifted way the heck off the path. And I openly share with you, I've had that happen many, many times before. And we get over there and we're like, what the heck just happened here? How'd I get way over here? So far off the path. Well, when we do, it's a struggle. It's a challenge to get back. Doesn't mean we can't, but it'd be much, much better and easier if we had those guardrails on our life to keep us from drifting so far off. So we have to work so hard to get back on the path. And I bring that up because when we're drifting, we're kind of existing in life. We're almost like a ship without a rudder. We're just coasting out there and spinning in circles, no destination in mind. And then we're like, whoa, man, how did I get way the heck over here? Or how did so many years go by? How did so many decades go by? And it's never too late. Book I'm listening to right now, I'm listening to and this is what I do. I listen to 2 or 3 books on Audible at a time. And I'm re-listening to a couple books that I'd listened to before just to kind of get some different nuggets of information that I can share with you. But also, that's why I encourage you to, listen to the podcast more than once or watch the YouTube videos more than once, because you're always going to pick up something that you didn't pick up the first time or the second time. And the biggest reason for that is because every time you listen, you're at a higher level of learning or education, or you're a different place in your life than you were when you listened the first time. So you're going to pick up something that's more meaningful that you may have missed the first time. So anyway, part of the book, it says, and it's the book, one of the books I'm reading right now is How to Own Your Own Mind by Napoleon Hill. And it's all about Napoleon Hill interviewing Andrew Carnegie, the steel tycoon, back in the 20s. And I mean, the lessons he's talking about from the book that was written back then to today is amazing. It's how this guy had such foresight and knowledge based on what he had learned from the past. We can't predict the future, but we can learn a lot from the past in order to see, if things don't change, if we don't learn from the past, we're doomed to repeat it, good or bad, right? Yeah. So, but anyway, he says there's a huge, huge difference between late and too late. Ooh, well, how do you know when it's too late? Well, when it's too late, you're on your deathbed and that's it. It's over. But other than that, it's never too late. There's an old saying Jim Rome used to say, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is right here, right now. So, yeah, maybe you've drifted for a number of years. Maybe you're still drifting. Maybe you discovered this podcast because you wanted that warrior confidence, that belief in yourself. Maybe you're like, well, you know what? Am I just existing? Am I just drifting through life? Am I kind of like a boat without a rudder? Just kind of wandering around. Now, it's okay if we, at times, to shut down, to recharge the engine, just like our computer, when it gets bogged down, we got to shut her down, right? Yeah, well, our engine, our computer, and our mind, it needs shut down from time to time. But make sure we start that baby back up and we get on a path. And the best way to keep the drift from getting too far or drifting too far off the path is to have a goal, have a destination. I mean, when we drove down here to Florida, we put it in the GPS, and I don't know what it was, Google Maps or something, or just Apple Maps. I don't know what it was. We put it in the GPS, right, where our destination was and where we wanted to go. And we followed that path. Now, of course, if there was a detour, or we had to stop and get gas, or we had to stop for the night for a hotel, or stop and get something to eat, those were temporary little, I don't know if they're setbacks or not, but it was little, we got off the path a little bit. But then the GPS got us right back on the path. Now, Zig Ziglar would always talk about, when an airplane, takes off from New York, flying across the continental U.S. to California, that airplane is very rarely on that direct line it started with, due to turbulence, due to wind, due to, I guess, the atmospheric pressure and the clouds and all the other stuff, and trying to take the best path. But it's still got it locked in. That's where they're going. So even though they may drift a little bit here, a little bit there, in order to find the smoothest path so it's not a bumpy ride, they still have a destination in mind. Well, the same thing with our drive to Florida. Our destination was to get here. It was our goal. Without that goal, we probably would have drove around aimlessly. And oftentimes in life, and I've been plenty guilty, without a goal, and just kind of wandered around. What am I going to do today? I don't know. And then today's over. What am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know. Then tomorrow's over. Then the week's over. You're like, you know what? Next week I'll do a little better. Next week I'll get to the gym. Next week I'll start reading that book. Next week I'll start writing that book. Next week I'll start spending more time with my kids. Next week I'm going to start planning out my life. Before we know it, those next weeks turn into next month. Next month turns into next year. Next year turns into 3 years, 5 years, 10 years later. And maybe that's happened to you, and that's okay. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm being open. I'm telling you it's happened to me countless times, and just, not too terribly long ago when I drifted off the path. But if we stay off the path too long, it's almost like I talk about two different types of muscles that we work literally every single day. Our perseverance muscles and our give up and quit muscles. Whichever muscles we work the most are the ones that are going to dominate and rule our life. And what I mean by that, perseverance muscles, if every time we're knocked down, every time we have a setback, a challenge, we get back up, swinging, fighting back, not giving up, we're strengthening those perseverance muscles. We're building and strengthening our foundation. That doesn't mean the challenge is going to ever get any easier. The sad reality is, every time we battle through a challenge, the challenges get tougher. Why? Because we've learned how to overcome. If we've learned, if we've overcome this hill or this challenge or this mountain, well, that's no longer a challenge because you know how to get through it. So the next one's going to be tougher. John Maxwell would always talk about, if you're a level 2 problem solver, then a level 3 or 4 problem, man, that's tough. That's real tough because that's over the level of your knowledge, expertise, perseverance. But once you overcome that level 3 problem, now you're a level 3 problem solver. So a level 2 problem, that didn't even register on your radar. And the same thing. You get up there, well, now you're a level 4 or 5 problem solver. A level 3 or 4 problem that kicked your butt before, that doesn't even register anymore because you've gotten better. But now the level 6 problem comes along. It's like, man, that's a challenge. But just like you overcame the other problems, the other challenges, battle, persevere, don't give up, battle through. And now you'll be able to handle the next challenge that comes. And that's probably going to be a little tougher. But my point of all that, the perseverance muscles, that's strengthening that foundation. That's building that warrior confidence. That's building that belief, that hope, that faith. That's building that, you know what? I overcame that battle. I can overcome this one. Why? Because you've done it before. You've got the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom, but most importantly, you've got the confidence and belief in yourself. However, the give up and quit muscles, if you get in the habit of working them, meaning when things get tough, when challenges get to you, as they can and they will, and once again, there's nothing wrong with stepping back and recharging the battery or restarting the engine or whatever you need to do to kind of come at this challenge, this obstacle, this battle, whatever it may be, with a little better plan, a little better strategy, instead of just random and bang, bang, bang your head in the wall, which I've done so many times, ridiculous. It's like, hey, I'm going to get through this wall. I'm going to get through this wall. I'm going to get through this wall. And that's good perseverance. That's good attitude. But sometimes I got to be smart enough to take a step back and say, well, wait a minute. Why am I ramming my head through the wall? Here's the opening right over here. What is that called? Wisdom, experience, right? Yeah. But once again, if we continuously work on our give up and quit muscles, which is usually the result of a kind of a poor mindset, a negative mental attitude, the world's against me, I can't do anything right, I'm no good, I'm worthless. No, those are limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs, like weeds in a mental garden, they'll suffocate out all the good. We got to get those limiting beliefs out. So working on our perseverance muscles or give up and quit muscles in order to not just exist, but to live life and to get the most out of life. And those, if you're listening and you've listened before, you know what an advocate I am of, self-empowerment, going to workshops and conferences, watching productive webinars, reading books. They're going to help educate and empower and lift you up. And, Zig Ziglar, the other one with Zig, and I did a video on this not too long ago, and even a podcast, and it was, a lot of people say, well, motivation, that motivation stuff that you talk about, yeah, you get me inspired and motivated and pumped up, but it doesn't last. By the next day or when the weekend's over, it's gone. Yeah, that's true. You know what else doesn't last? Bathing, right? Yeah. You bathe once a week. You think it's going to last to the end of the week? No. You got to bathe daily. At least I hope you do. And we'll talk about motivation. You need inspired and charged up daily. And I get it. Sometimes like, gosh, dang, do I really have to get empowered, motivated to start the day every single day? Well, it's like your perseverance and give up, quit muscles. The more you do it, the easier it's going to become. Both ways, right? Give up and quit. It's like going to the gym. If you're an advocate of going to the gym regularly, and I kind of drifted off that path too, where, I just, for whatever reason, didn't have my day planned out very well. Before I knew it, the day slipped on by, and I'd say, I'm going to do better tomorrow. I'm going to get up tomorrow and go to the gym. Well, tomorrow comes, and it's like, I got to fight this battle again, because the mind says, you really don't want to go, do you? No. You'd rather, you're so far behind on work and your podcasts and your video blogs and your programs you're working on. You don't have time to go to the gym. Why does the mind do that? Why does the mind say that? It's kind of a mystery, but the biggest reason is because your mind has one job, and that's to protect you and keep you safe. Now, right about now, you might say, well, how is not going to the gym or talking you out of going to the gym keeping you safe? Well, when you tell your mind, oh, I'm so tired, I've got so much work to do, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym, your mind is non-biased in any way, shape, or form. What it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, I want to make Rich happy. I want to keep him safe. If he didn't want to do that gym thing, there must be something wrong with that. And he clearly doesn't want to go because he just listed all these things that he has to do. And is he really going to have time to do both? Boom. Talks you out of going to the gym. That's why I always talk about one of the hardest things. Well, I don't know, you're going to think this is completely silly, but it's the reality thing. And it is the hardest thing because it's the first step. But before your mind has a chance to talk you out of it, going to the gym in the morning or whenever you go, just immediately, without thought, grab your shoes and put your shoes on. That's like the hardest part, getting those shoes on. And now you're like, well, I guess my shoes are on. That was kind of a tough part. Now take that next step and get your butt to the gym or make your workout drink or whatever you got to do in order to go. And by doing that, you're not giving the mind a chance to talk you out of it. Mel Robbins has a great book called The 5-Second Rule. And when I first heard it, I was like, we talked 5-second rule. You drop food on the floor. Oh, 5-second rule. Get it. Blow it off. Okay, 5 seconds. We can still eat it. Well, that's not the 5-second rule she's talking about. The 5-second rule she's talking about is your mind, and within 5 seconds, will talk you out of something you should do or need to do or you want to do to maybe make your life and help your life become better. So she says, anytime the mind starts to talk you out of something, like going to the gym, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. and get your shoes on. Or at work, maybe you have, maybe you're not being respected or appreciated, or maybe in a meeting, you always want to raise your hand and comment, but you're kind of like, you get the thought, oh, I know this would help the company. I know this would really, really help out. You got that idea. But before you raise your hand, your mind tells you, oh boy, don't you raise your hand. Don't you dare do it. They're going to laugh at you. Oh, that's a dumb thing. You're going to stutter your words. You're not going to sound very clear. They're probably going to make fun of you after that. Your mind goes in that mode to try and protect you, because you could stumble, you could stutter, you could say something that isn't the brightest. But then again, on the other side, it may be exactly what you need to say to gain the respect, or to help the company, or to help your own company, or to help your team, or to help your kids. So when that, I guess, I like to call it the bully in your mind, when they flare up to tell you not to do something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Just raise your hand. That's how we get the most out of life, not just wandering through life, existing, wishing we would have. So back to the tree comment about planting trees. Best time, 20 years ago. Second best time, right now. But you're doing that. You're listening to a podcast like this. And make sure, of course, you like, subscribe. If you found value, share with someone else that you know could benefit from this message. But also back to me wanting to plant trees, just like I'm doing. These podcasts will be here forever. And I mean, literally on a daily basis, somebody's asking, hey, how do you do the podcast? How do you do the video blogs? And everything, I started it off just with my phone. I mean, everybody's got, the phones are much better now than they were when I first started doing my video blogs. But put the camera mode on, facing you, and just do it. And you're probably not going to be very good at first, but consistency. I got 500 and something videos on YouTube. And I'm not saying that to brag, because I only got like right at 400 followers on YouTube. It's kind of, my YouTube was all about a housing site of all the videos. I never did much with it for the past 10 years. Now I'm like, man, I really want to focus on growing that YouTube channel and using that as a platform to get the videos out. And this is podcast, what is this, episode 346? Yeah, but it started with one. But it started with that first video blog I did. Now, and I'll tell you, I was so bad at video. I saw somebody doing video blogs. I said, man, I can do that. I didn't realize, I mean, it really wasn't that tough. We've all recorded videos on our phone or taken pictures on our phone. But I was so naive. I had the phone vertical instead of horizontal. And then I'm like, oh, I got to turn it the other way. So I stacked up books on my desk and had the phone just barely sitting there. No, then I started, oh, you know what? I need to get one of those things that hold it. What's that? Oh, it's called a tripod. All right, get a tripod. And then get a microphone and then get a light. But it all started off just with the phone. And somebody noticed the videos, and that's how the podcast got started. Matter of fact, when I was first asked to do a podcast, I didn't know what the heck a podcast was. I even said, hold on. Sorry about that. Throat was getting a little dry. I had to grab a drink. Good old water with lemon and lime in it. Refreshing. But I asked, I don't even know what a podcast is. And they said, well, basically you just go and put on some earphones and talk to a microphone and get your word out. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But it was kind of explained to me, if you're new to listen to podcast is almost like Netflix, but it's for audio, and I guess, I don't know if I'm called a blogger or not. I'm probably a talker. But anyway, yeah, just, and obviously this podcast is all about self-empowerment, self-motivation, warrior confidence, a belief in yourself. And of course, this episode, how to get the most out of your life, not to just go through life, kind of to exist. So I touched on several things, and I'll circle back around let me get through my notes here, about, just waiting for that next break to happen, waiting for vacation. And vacations are great, and vacations give us something to look forward to. But think about this. Think about how much planning goes into your vacation. If you've got animals, you got to find somebody to watch your pets if the whole family's going, right? Then you got to worry about hotel or airfare, transportation, how you're going to get there. Then what you're going to do when you're on vacation. We try and cram as much as we can into those few days of vacation time. And I'm sure we do a heck of a job of planning because we want to get the most out of them. Now, my question is, think about how much more you could get out of each day, each week, each month, each year if we planned our life like we do our vacations. Whoa. That's a pretty good shot, isn't it? Now, am I great at doing that? No. Am I getting better? I like to think so. Do I still need work? Absolutely. But I've got my days. I went through, and I'm one of those that I don't know how, and this is no exaggeration. I bet I've changed my calendar up just since we've been in Florida 15, 20 times. I know it's never going to be perfect, but I'm trying to get, and here, I'll share a little secret with you. What I try and do, my calendar is going to be different than yours, of course, because we our jobs are different, our lives are different, our kids are different, our problems are different, our struggles are different, amount of time we can spend on certain things are different. But what I try and do is on the calendar, I used to do like a little bit of a lot of things each day. Now, this is kind of my job, so I don't have to go to a 9-to-5 job. But when I did, I was a PE teacher for 11 years, and I would do the PE teacher thing during the day and then go run the martial arts academy at night. And then, goodness gracious, I'd be at the academy till 11 or 12 o'clock, work on paperwork till 1 or 2, have dinner when I got home at 1 or 2 in the morning, fall asleep on the couch, get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock the next day, and start it all over again. And that went on for years upon years upon years. So if anybody's saying, "Whoa, man, I wish I had your schedule," I mean, do I wish I had your schedule? I don't know, but maybe it's easier, maybe it's tougher than mine. I was just trying to base it in what I'm trying to do with mine. And it was, if you're a business owner, I tried to do a little bit each day. Well, that didn't work out very well because the time it took to set things up, before I knew it, I'm like, oh my gosh, well, now on my time block on the calendar, it's time to move on to something else. So now I try and chunk it differently. Like Tuesdays, I'll work on reporting podcasts for the week, and then Wednesdays work on video blogs and a YouTube channel, and I'm taking a YouTube course and work on the workbook, and then Thursdays, follow up on a couple of those loose ends that need tied up, and then focus the rest of the day on Thursday on our programs and my other book that's, well, I don't say it's coming out anytime soon. It's probably going to be a couple years before it comes out. But the book, I'll tease you, is called Defeating the Bully Within. And it's talking about the bully in our mind, which is the meanest, nastiest bully we'll ever face. But and then Fridays, a little bit of catch-up work, and I want to get back to, we were doing field trip Fridays with the kids, so doing that. And then I just still do some work on Saturday and Sunday and Monday as well. And those are kind of pickup days or planning days for the week there. But then also putting in workout times in there. I'm coaching my son's hockey teams. He's on a couple of them, so that's in the evenings. And then also I'm playing on a hockey team as well. So putting it all in there and trying to make it flow and fit the best I can. And why did I share that with you? Because maybe you think, well, I've tried that. We're spreading everything out over the week, doing this, and this. But I've tried the time blocking or time chunking, as some people call it. You just got to find a system that works best for you. And of course, once again, my goal is to share with you what I can, what I've learned, and what I'm working on to help you not just exist in life, but to get the most out of life. Good. How'd you like that? Did you like that about planning the your life, your goals, like you do your vacation? Zig Ziglar would always say, just think, the day before you go on vacation, how productive you are. If you could be half as productive every day as you are the day before you go on vacation, wow. Think about your productivity level. Think about the goals. Yeah, that would be good. That wouldn't be just existing in life. That would be living life. Good. And then talk about, are you waiting for that next break? Well, here's a sad reality. Oftentimes we'll say, well, if when this happens, that's when I'll do, I'll start working on that book or start working on that business. When this happens, when the kids get out of school for the summer, well, kids are out of school for the summer. Oh, well, summer's too busy. It's too chaotic. It's too hectic. There's no set schedule. When the kids get back in school, that's when I'll have time for it. Well, kids get back in school. Now they're involved in events or athletics or band, or maybe they're taking martial arts classes. Who knows? But now they got homework to do. It's just too doggone busy. When the holidays get here, that's when I'll do it. The holidays, I'm going to have all kinds of time. Now, we know the holidays are chaotic as can be, especially if you have to travel to see family. It's like, oh, you know what? Gosh darn it. When the spring gets here, that's when I'll do it. When spring gets here, yeah, I'm going to have all kinds of time in the spring. When spring rolls around, spring sports kick in. Your kids are preparing for summer. You're planning vacations. You're planning trips. You're like, all right, you know what? When summer gets here, that's when I'll really do it. But isn't summer where we started? It's never going to be the right time. It's never going to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to line up just right. You're going to have to, unfortunately, go out there and make it happen. A meme that I've shared often is it's a picture of a guy in this open field, and he's leaning on the shovel. And the meme says, God may give us the shovel, and he may give us the field. But God ain't digging the hole. We got to do something. And the sad reality is oftentimes I'll see people that, I haven't seen in a number of years. And I'll say, hey, how's things going? I know you, and they'll say, I know you talked about writing that book or starting that business, or talked about, you were wanting an advancement at work and you were applying for it. How's things going? Well, I didn't get the advancement. I don't have time for that book. Oh, that job. I just, I'm too old now. No, you're not. Or oftentimes people say, well, I'm just waiting on God to tell me what to do. Well, back to the meme there. God may give us the opportunities in the shovel in the field, but we got to take action. We got to do something. God ain't going to do it all for us. I'm not saying don't pray about it. Yeah, that's to be the number one thing. But God wants us to take action in order to live the life that we're born to live. Utilize our God-given talents. Utilize our gifts. And I talked about at length on a previous show, what are your talents? That's a question I get asked all the time. Hey, can you tell me what my talents are? Now, by me just saying that, it's almost got to make you laugh, doesn't it? And that's true. People say, can you talk about utilizing your God-given talents and doing this? Can you tell me what mine are? I can't. You have to figure that out on your own. And I covered on I don't know, countless podcasts at length how to kind of discover what your talents are. And go back and listen to those. I'll tease you just a little bit. It's what you would do without being paid. It's what comes the most natural to you. What comes the most natural to me is talking. Yeah, doing that, just like what I'm doing right now. But it still doesn't mean this without, that's another thing. Man, I wish I had your life. You don't want the troubles I've got, just like I don't want the troubles you've got. But doing this, it takes a lot of work. And I'm not wanting anybody to feel sorry for me. I enjoy doing it. But if you want that, start a podcast. By all means, get it out there and do it. There's a lot of setup, a lot of time recording, a lot of research on coming up with topics, and make sure you're not wasting anybody's time, giving them valuable information. But if that's whatever your God-given purpose is, it's something that comes the most natural to you. You do for free, and you would we enjoy doing it. You enjoy doing it for the long haul. So whatever that talent is for you, like I said, I've dedicated several podcasts to that. So after this one, you can jump back and listen to those if you want. But I really want to focus on you taking action, you taking charge, and living a purpose-filled life. And what are you going to be remembered by? And then back to what I mentioned, the eulogy. What are people going to say at your eulogy? Now, the video that I was trying to air for you to listen to that didn't work out, definitely go to the YouTube channel and check that out. Well, actually, it won't air till, what is it, next week or maybe 2 weeks from now. But anyway, it's called Everyone Dies, Not Everyone Lives. And a big part I talk about there is the dash. Now, what's the dash? The dash is what they put on your tombstone between the day you were born and the day you pass away. Now, that dash is only what? A couple inches long. That dash is your life. Now, that's a sad reality. You think about it. My life was only a couple inches long. Well, it kind of seems like it. It sneaks up on you. And I once saw a preacher. Whoa, man, this was a great illustration. He took this rope and he strung it all through the pews, all up and down the aisles, and then out the door. I mean, this rope had to be, oh my gosh, I don't even know, 200, 300 foot long. It was huge. And then at the very end of that rope, he had a small red piece of tape, maybe two wrappings of the tape, very small, maybe the size of a dash on a tombstone. And he says, what this rope represents, this red part of the rope, is your life. What the rest of the rope represents is eternity. Woo! How's that for a right hook of reality? Wow. So that's another thing. What are you doing in this life to make sure that the eternity, the length of that rope, the rest of your life is going to be good? Man, that came out of nowhere, didn't it? Oh, that was a right hook that dropped you. I didn't even have that in my notes, but it just the dash made me think of that, and I wanted to talk about it. So that could be a whole other podcast. We could talk about it sometime. But that's a good one, right? So what are you doing? Purpose-filled life. Are you helping people, utilizing your God-given talents? Are you being the best Christian, the best father, the best person, the best influence you can? Now, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. My goal is to never lie to you. There's nothing worse than when we lie to kids or lie to people. Now, I'm not saying you got to be rude, mean, or hurtful. No. Matter of fact, a note I just wrote down because I'm working with Chris Widener again, one of my mentors in this group. It's called Ancient Wisdom. What is it called? Ancient Wisdom Business School, and it's based on Proverbs. But one of the things we talked about, it's a mastermind group for Christian entrepreneur guys, just to utilize the book of Proverbs in order to learn from King Solomon on how to do what we do to the best of our abilities. But one of the quotes that came up, one of the guys said is, wounds, easy for me to say, wounds from a true friend can be trusted. It's like, oh my. Well, what does that mean? That means real friends, sometimes they tell us the things we don't want to hear, but we truly need to hear. And that's what I try and do here. I'm going to be upbeat, positive, but I'm also not going to lie to you either. That's some of the way at the academy. The kids had to earn every single belt, every single stripe. Same thing in sports. And it's not being mean, cruel. But gosh darn, the real world's going to make them earn it. And if they can't learn how to overcome small problems, they're never going to learn how to overcome big problems. Wow. That's a shot too, isn't it? Anyway, back to the dash. What are you going to be remembered by in that dash? What have you done with the time that you had on this planet from the day you were born to the day you pass away? It's only a small dash. But what are they going to say at your eulogy? What do you hope they say at your eulogy? Right? And how do we make sure that what they say at our eulogy is in line with what we were put on this earth to do? That's tough, isn't it? Yeah. What do you think? It's a good show today. Yeah. A lot of examples, a lot of stories, which I like telling. But the biggest thing is, and I share, and I say the same thing often. I repeat myself a lot. Something my wife always gets on to me about. She goes, when you give speeches and presentations, you realize how many times you repeat yourself? And I said, well, the biggest reason for that is because I have no idea who's listening and where they're at with their day or their life or events that are going on or their level of learning or understanding. So I try and say things in a multitude of ways. So hopefully one of those connects, right? That's the goal with that. So hopefully, by repeating myself several times, it got through or hit you in a way that you intended and was obviously helpful. All right. So I want to remind you that to subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also if you've not had a chance to pick up my books yet, they're on Amazon. You can type in my name, Rich Grogan, and the links will be in the description box. Becoming BullyProof. It's a book about me as a 12-year-old, me 40 years later. We're going on a journey together where the older me is teaching the younger me. Me. Sounds like, right? All the mistakes and all the lessons and then all the beliefs about standing up for myself. And hopefully the grooming and educating and empowering the younger me to be a better version than I ever really was. It's kind of what I try and do with the podcast is help you with the struggles I've had and challenges I've overcome to help empower you to do the same. And then the other book is I Believe in Me. It's an A through Z positive affirmation book, and it's teaching little kids the alphabet, but at the same time empowering them with positive affirmations. So even though the book's written for little kids, I'll tell you, I don't know how many adults have bought the book and said, this is great. It's fun. It's a cute little read, but it's given me the empowerment that helps kickstart my day. So I'm like, oh, great. Good stuff. But anyway, and then our programs, we're working on. They're getting close. The first one, kind of shifted gears a little bit on it, but it's all going to revolve around the book becoming bully-proof. But the biggest focus is going to be on self-empowerment to defeat the bully within, because that's essentially what the book is about: is learning to believe in yourself, to overcome whatever challenge, battle you're going through in your mind, to have that warrior confidence, to believe enough in yourself to conquer any fear, challenge, or struggle that you have in the real world. But we got to defeat the bully within our mind first, because just like I mentioned earlier about going to the gym, a way to defeat the bully there is just without even thinking about it, go get your shoes on in order to get to the gym. And if you need to do the Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 blast off countdown, do that too. Good, good, good. All right. So are we going to live a purpose-filled life? Are we going to get the most out of life and not just exist? Man, I sure hope so. I mean, don't do it for me, but do it for your kids. Do it for your family. Do it for the dash. You know, what people are going to say at your eulogy. Do it for the number of trees you're going to plant now that you'll never sit under, but you know somebody will. And then, of course, if you get back to the rope analogy of the preacher, you know, that's eternity, baby. That is eternity. We're only on this planet for a short amount of time. Good. All right. Well, gosh darn. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and staying with me and listening. I want to give a quick shout out, and I've done it the last couple of times, to Fitbod exercise and fitness app. That's the app that my workout partner Dave and I use. Holy smokerooskies. That thing is good. We had a kick butt workout today. We had 19 different exercises, and man, I don't know how many calories, burnt almost 700 calories, and I don't know, what was the volume, mass, weight? It was insane. And we just did 2 muscle groups. Well, I guess 3. We did shoulders, lower back, and abs. And oh my gosh, fantastic. It puts the workouts together. And it's been so helpful for me because it's like goal setting, right? Because some of the exercises we do 3 and 4, sometimes 5 different sets of the same exercise, but they also do compound sets, and they also do supersets and everything else, but it's kind of built in, whereas maybe got tired after the second or third set, you'd say, all right, I'm going to move on to the next exercise if I didn't have a plan to follow. We got the plan. Well, it says to do 5. We're going to do 5. So you can see where you get that little extra by doing that. But anyway, big shout out to them. And also my wife is starting a coffee truck business here in Florida. And we were just in Illinois last week and working on the coffee truck. And her company is going to be called Beachside, listen to me, I'm tongue-tied, Beachside Blend, where they're going to sell, you know, different flavored coffees and lotus drinks. And my wife has these essential oils and suntan oil and sunblock and sunscreen and hair products that she makes. So that's all going to be available. So I want to tease you on that. That coffee truck won't get going until probably the end of July, early August, which I'll give them more shout outs as we move along here and tell you the locations they're at. So if you're here in Florida at one of the events they're at, you can stop by and check them out. And that'll be good there. Their website's not live yet because the coffee truck isn't live yet, but it will be soon. Just wanted to tease you about that. All right. So don't just exist. Get the most out of life. Live the life you were born to live. Oh, I almost forgot. Make sure you stay empowered throughout the week and check out not only our YouTube channel, but our Facebook and Instagram page as well. It's at Warrior Confidence. Good thing I caught that in my notes there. And if you found value in this podcast, share it with someone else that you know could benefit. And obviously, we love those 5-star reviews. That helps us move it up in the search engines, so we're found a little easier and quicker. And the name of the podcast is Warrior Confidence with Master Rich Grogan. And obviously, 5-star reviews on those books always helps out as well. All right, folks, I love you. God loves you. Please share that love with the world. And until we talk again, you get out there and do your best. And I promise you'll be your very best. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. Thanks again for listening. Have a blessed day, and we'll chat real soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so very much for listening today. I am truly grateful. My goal is to empower millions of people with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in themselves in order to make our society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live. But I can't do it alone. So if you found value in this message, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it, and by subscribing and leaving a 5-star review. Be sure to pick up copies of my books for yourself and someone you care about at www.warriorconfidence.com. Also, remember to stay empowered throughout the week by subscribing to our YouTube channel and our Facebook and Instagram pages at Warrior Confidence. Thank you again, and have a blessed day.